Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. You're listening to the Women's Broadcast Television Expert Spotlight Show, and I'm your host, Shea. WBTVN is the all-women's internet television station with content that's created by women and for women. And WBTVN's expert spotlight guest today is someone that is just intriguing. So Terrie Christine talks about intuitiveness. She has the ability to do that. And secret power of you, and the secret power of you. Wow, that sounds really compelling. Terrie, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Shea, for having me.
Yeah, so tell me, I always like to ask about your childhood and growing up and how you got to really where you are today, because what you're doing is really helping people to understand who they are and bring that forward and help them to, make the changes in their life that they need. So share with us.
So thank you. I actually was in a 14-year relationship. And at the end of the relationship was that last year, struggling. I was crying every night. And 3 months before the end of that relationship, I woke up at 3 a.m. and crawled into the bathroom. I all of a sudden had this complete sense of calmness, and I began to feel like I was floating. I could see this vast dark sky, like I was in the universe and stars were all around me. And I'll never forget the moment when I heard, "Love will come."
Wow.
It totally shook me out of my existence.
And you're on the bathroom floor.
I was on the bathroom floor.
Okay. And now you're in the universe.
That's right. That's right. And when I heard that, I instantly knew that my entire life was going to change. And immediately right after that, I started reading books that personal development and Reiki classes and crystals, and I was practicing modalities with the masters, and I ended up here today where I am.
Wow. So as a child, how old were you when this happened to you, though?
So that was actually in my late 30s.
Okay.
I actually had a moment that when I was 8 years old, I was hit by a car. And I was placed in a coma. And for 10 days as I floated, I came out. And my life ended up being a magnificent sea of manifesting. Now, as a kid, you just think that you can have anything that you want. But I lived in an environment where we actually had a lot of lack. We didn't have a lot of money. Electric bill kept getting cut off. But everything I wanted, I got. I knew I could have. And I just thought that was normal for me. But I know moving into that, realizing that I became this master manifester as I was growing up, but that big change shifting into learning and creating and helping was actually when I was in my 30s.
Wow. So obviously, when this happened, crawling to the bathroom floor and feeling the pain that you must have felt prior to the love will come, were you married at that time?
We were in a 14-year relationship, so we weren't married, but we had 2 children.
Okay. Because I did hear you say the relationship, and I wasn't quite sure if you were still living with mom and dad at that point in time, or were out on your own, or exactly. So I wanted to get that clarity. And so what happened after that then?
So once I realized that the love was within, because that's truly where it all begins.
Always.
That's right. And so I was taking all of these courses. I felt like I knew the love was there, but I was still kind of reading books and creating. But at a point then I knew it was like all within. And so as I moved forward, I realized that the more I learned, the more people were coming to me for assistance and help. And then I started turning it into my business.
And so how did you, when you say turning it into your business, consulting people that needed help, that were struggling, breaking through barriers, not knowing how to go about loving themselves? I'm just going to bring this up because I think that I connect with you so well. I think that we have those barriers. And I think I can remember for years people telling me, you need to love yourself, you need to love yourself, you need to love yourself. And I was a happy child. We didn't have much either. But I was that girl turning, cartwheels and flip-flops, all over the place. And my background became in dance. And so that's where all my energies, kind of went. But I didn't know what love yourself was, what it meant. I had no idea. But I'll tell you one thing. When I started really studying and understanding a little bit more about who we are and why we are, and so many things that affect our lives in the past or things that happened to us, whether we can remember them or not, or we barely remember them and we don't feel good about it. We don't know the whole story sometimes that's attached to it as a young child. But the one thing that I do know is this, is that when we start to make better choices because we love other people, that's how we end up loving ourselves. Giving to someone else, sacrificing because, no, you shouldn't be standing there smoking because they're getting secondhand smoke. And you got to love them enough to put that away. Now, I know that that's easier said than done, but I don't really, I see so many people doing those kinds of things, driving the car and smoking, and kids are in the back seat and whatever. I understand that that's an addiction. I don't know that they do, but they've got to love those kids more than they're loving the drug.
That's right.
And that's exactly, what it, and it's one of the hardest things to really, to give up. But what a testimonial it is to the people around you. Not just great you quit smoking, but the testimonial to the people around you, because you're doing it for yourself, but probably more you're tired of everybody telling you you need to stop it. And every time you go out of the restaurant to have a cigarette, there's everybody yelling at you or looking at you funny. So I bring that up, and I just use that as an example because I had to learn that giving, and it wasn't that I wasn't a giving person, but I had to learn giving really made me feel good, and it really made me like myself a whole lot. And I didn't expect anything back, and that's the key to it. You don't always get the things back when you give. I'm sure you've experienced this with people, telling you the same stories that I'm telling you.
Yeah, and if I took that relationship a step further here, is that I held on to the fact that I kept giving to him to expect him to give me the same in return. And that's where it turned into resentment, and why I was so angry at the end, because I was trying to create this loving, safe environment for him to see how much the children and I loved him. And I ended up loving him and everything else besides myself.
Of course. And you can't live yourself when you allow somebody to walk all over with you. And there's not some kind of a balance. It's never a perfect balance. Right. But some kind of a balance where you're getting something out of the relationship. And of course, you've got, how many children do you have?
2.
Okay. So those are the blessings.
Yes.
That came out of it, irregardless. And, but yeah, and sometimes we do, and we think we can help just by being a good person and doing more and doing more and doing more and doing more. And they're going to love me. They're going to love me. And it just doesn't work that way. No. And you've got to let people grow on their own and let go sometimes.
Absolutely. Yep. And that's what I did in the end.
Yeah.
And I heard God speak to me, and I knew that love was literally there, and it was from me.
Yeah. And it definitely is within. If you had, one sentence or something that you would want to share with the audience on, because you talk about, being intuitive, you talk about, balancing really your life and everything. What would that message be?
Trust your inner guidance system. What happens is over time, we start seeking the answers from others. In that case, when I was living outside of myself, wanting him to love me. And then also, I didn't really trust myself. So I would do things to see that if he would show me he loved me, then I knew that. But so I never really trusted myself that that he would love me naturally. So I kept giving and giving.
And giving.
And so, and then also with work too, we'll find that, oh, should I take that promotion? Or, oh, should I move into that new job? They're asking everyone else, how does it feel for yourself? Does that make you happy? Does it fulfill your needs and desires? Does it make you, or have you feel like you're moving in the direction that would really, truly make your heart sing? You don't have to ask other people. You know it from within.
Right. And that's true, but that's really grown up stuff. You know? I mean, it is. It's just real grown-up stuff, because I think sometimes that what happens too is that we want something so badly that we just ignore the signs within.
Yeah.
We think that we're gonna make it. I just don't want to think anything negative. I'm gonna think positive, and you should think positive on things. But there comes a point in your life where you have to say, this isn't going to work out just exactly the way that I wanted it to.
Exactly.
And with a number of things, building something, and there's funding behind it, and you've even signed contracts, and it doesn't come forth because the people that you're working with don't have the same integrity that you do.
That's right.
And so those kinds of things happen all the time. And sometimes I think that the gut is, you've heard stories so many times, people coming home, a woman coming home, or even a guy late at night by themselves and being robbed or, abused in some way. And they kind of had that feeling, I need to take a different way home, but no, I've always gone this way. And we don't listen to it.
That's right.
And it would have made a difference.
Right. They think that it's a coincidence, and there is no coincidence.
It's not. Yeah.
Right.
There's everything is because we're here for purposes and to grow, and we don't stop that until the day we lay down to rest.
Exactly.
So you think, I've got it all. Oh my gosh, somebody's 80 years old. If they're going to live till 90, they got some more to go.
I tell everybody I'm a work in progress until my last breath.
Exactly. I love that. That's a great way to really say it. So what's in the future for you?
So I actually have been working on several different things. As you stated at the beginning, I created the Secret Power of You Master Course, which is a 6-week course to teach people how to connect deeper into their intuition, that inner guidance system. Yes, it's an amazing product and helps people move forward into all of that and more. And everything is energy. It's all around you. You connect into it, and then you feel it. You can feel the energy of someone else, including yourself. And I just recently...
that you don't let everybody take your energy away from you.
That's right. You own your own power and your own energy.
Exactly.
You're only the conduit and the messenger. You're not the sponge.
Absolutely, you're not. But we just become sponges, and sometimes because, we don't know better.
Yes.
We think it's the right thing to do. And I really have to say that I think women are more apt to do that because of all the wonderful things they do.
Yes. Nurturer.
Exactly. We are nurturers, but most, are definitely. Yes. But that's very interesting. And I think obviously that course is something that can really help to solve a lot of issues, not just being more intuitive about, what your mind and body is trying to tell you, and take action on that and trust it more than anything else. But when you start to do that, other things happen in the right direction because you've listened.
That's right. Can you imagine if you truly knew how someone felt about you and how you could take an educated or make an educated decision based on those feelings? Exactly. Because you know how they feel?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes it may not be everything you want it to be, solutions to things or whatever, getting answers sometimes when we don't have them, just don't come back the way that we've, put it in our mind and really want it to be that way. And that breakthrough kind of moment, that ha-ha, is like, wow, that's really hard to believe. I can't believe my father doesn't really love me. I know he wasn't present. He didn't act like, most dads do, all of those kinds of things, but I still felt like he loved me. And when you found out that you needed to think that way.
Yeah, when you take the moments back, when you're having a caregiver such as mom or dad that may not project the safety or the comfort that you as a child need and want, then remember, everything that we all take in were programmed patterns from someone else.
Exactly.
So your dad may have taken in took in his own programmed patterns and had to make decisions based on those programmed patterns. And then they may not necessarily have been in the best, experience for you. But as you look back, forgiveness is the key to letting go and moving forward.
We talk about that a lot, and forgiveness is not condoning.
No.
It's strictly coming to, a restful place where it's not troubling anymore. You've addressed it. You've done everything that you possibly can. Open up your heart, let people come in and say they're sorry, and vice versa. It works in both directions. But it's too heavy to carry around too long. And there's so many other people out there, if that's a situation that you've had to go through, that do love you and will love you. And you just have to know that and put your energies into those right places.
That's right. And forgiveness, when you're focusing on an individual, you just simply remove the label of that individual. May it be father, mother, sister. Yeah. Forgive them as that entity, that person, and voila, it's magically.
Exactly. They've got their own hills to climb and to do. Well, I want to tell you, Terrie, you're delightful.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your wisdom, and thank you for joining us on the show today. And I want to thank our audience for being with us today and joining us. WBTVN Expert Spotlight Show really has the opportunity to host so many wonderful, successful women across the world. If you're interested, please go to WBTVN.tv, fill out the form there, and we'll take a look at it and get in touch with you. So until the next time, Terrie.
Thank you, Shea. It was a pleasure, and everyone else.
Thank you so much. Until the next time, stay healthy. Bye-bye now.